Good afternoon. Happy Monday, you guys. It's afternoon here in the Philippines and it's the 30th of March 2026. So, good news. The school year has officially ended. So, my son Nathan already completed 8th grade. So, it's summer, it's vacation from school. So, here we are. Hi, Nathan. Nathan. Hi, Nathan. Nathan, you want to say hi? No, you don't? Don't be a snob. Don't be a snob, Nathan. He's always on his phone. So anyway, he already took a shower. He prepared our lunch. He fried the rice earlier, and then he prepared our lunch. So I was very grateful while I was cleaning the window and doing some work around the house. But anyway, so I have this flower too that my mom gave me the other day. I don't know what you call this flower, but this one is very beautiful. Look. It's red and very festive, right? It looks very festive. It's it feels like a crepe paper, and I think this part right here can generate seed that you can replant. So I don't know. My mom lately has been giving me flowers. Sometimes I would just notice that there's flower on the table, but she knew what I want. So anyway, that I'm grateful. You know, oh well. Anyway, so what is our topic today? I know there's a lot of people asking me how did I start being a faithful servant of Christ, serving the Lord, serving the church, and getting myself, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, in getting myself more, what do you call this? More serious about learning the gospel and um, understanding the life of Christ and how his life is a perfect example of humility, of his reign as the king, because Jesus is a servant, and then from servant he became a king. He became the savior of the world. So that is a perfect example of perfect humility, and then the sacrifice, and then kingship, and then the fruit of the Holy Spirit, and how he's still here with us, that God is everywhere we go, that he's omnipresent, he's everywhere, but anyway, before we start, I'm gonna show you some stuff. This one is one of the first book or notebook that I wrote back in 2022. It was the time when I was having marital issue, that I moved to a different state and start a new life. So I practice grateful journal, where even though there's a lot of things that I had to worry about, I started practicing the art of gratefulness, how to be grateful, how to be thankful every day. So, and that was also the time when I was dreaming a lot of different things. I was dreaming of mirror, I was dreaming of lights, I was dreaming of butterfly, I was dreaming of so many different things, so many different things that I find very unusual. Um, but anyway, so because of that, it inspired me to start writing. I started writing my, I started writing, and this one I titled this Dream Journal and the Word of God. So every time I remember a dream, I would write it down, because sometimes I would wake up in the morning with a heavy heart, that it feels like it's exhausting and it's draining me. There would be mornings when I would wake up and I felt like I'm exhausted. I felt like I traveled while I was sleeping, because of the dream that I had. It's like there's a lot of emotion attached to it. There's heaviness in it. But anyway, so that's how it started. I moved to Minnesota the 25th of November. I know I said it from the other blog that I think I posted already. But anyway, that's when I started learning learning the gospel after attending online service. So how did it start? I didn't have a church that I was officially attending to at that time. I moved to Minnesota November, and then December the same year of 20 that was still 2021, December 2021, when I had a job at Huntington. And then that was when I was doing my morning devotion before I go to work. I listen to podcasts, or even looking at the Bible app. It wasn't that consistent, but every day I know I had to look into something, or at least listen to a worship song. And that's when I started programming my mind um, to be more positive. It's not being too religious or being too ritualistic, that every day I have to do this, I have to do that. It's how I started it's how I started programming my mind to incorporate Christ in my daily life. That because I always believe that I can do all things through Christ who gave me strength. And if I remember correctly, that day when I was moving to Minnesota, because I know I had a lot of things that happened to me prior to that. My friend, a colleague, we're not super super close, but I had a friend in Florida, Kuya Jem. He's also a Christian. He's a Christian, and he was texting me, he was sending me scriptures, Bible verse, and all that. And he was very consistent of doing that to me, until he encouraged me to watch online service. They had the church in Florida. We attended there once. The name of the church is called Rejoice Church. So, and then after that, Kuya Jem has been very consistent of reminding me to. He'd been reminding me to um, keep listening or watching the online service. I wasn't very very consistent about it, but I knew at that time that I need to have an anchor. I need to have some sort of something to look forward to. I need to have a guide. And I know I have been awakened before that. I know that I was already introduced to being a Christian, but I wasn't that very consistent. It started when I was in college. That my professor, he was a pastor, and then it was every time he would teach us. Sometimes he would um, also quote us a scripture, like a Bible scripture. So that's when I started becoming a born again Christian. I was in college at that time, so we were a few students in Bicol University Gubat campus, that we were having worship at the apartment, and then we were having Bible study, and then prayers. But I wasn't that very consistent either. But I was one of the pillars. We have like 9 pillars, I think, if I remember correctly. Like everyone is assigned to do something to evangelize. And at a very young age, I think I was 18 or 19 at the time, or 17, 18, 19. That was the time that I was part of the name of the church is called The Servant. We don't officially have a church. It was a small apartment slash boarding house by college students from Bicol University Gubat campus. That's when I started, becoming a born again Christian. I understand the principle, the doctrine. I understand the difference of being a Catholic and being a born again Christian. So anyway, fast forward to year 2022. So yeah, that's when I remember the things that I've learned before, that when you are sad, because and I know there's different version of the Bible where there's a guide. If you're sad, look at this verse. If you're going through depression, look at this verse. If you're going through marital issue, look at this, look at that, and everything. And I was like, okay, I mean, I've got nothing to lose. Why not? And then I also have time that I can use to, instead of thinking negative, instead of looking at insensible videos, or instead of looking at negative or ungodly videos online, why don't I just learn about um, how to be a good person. Maybe let's start by um, by watching online service. So that's when I started. I was watching the Rejoice Church in Florida until I started discovering different churches online. It wasn't an actual church that I was going to, and then I found Joel Austin. I think there's there is a preaching um, that he had back then, and the title of the preaching is The Right Mirror. The Right Mirror is the title of the preaching, that we have to find the right mirror to know our identity in front of God, that we are a conqueror, that we are a warrior, that we are the child of God, that we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. It's very positive, it's very uplifting. Instead of me listening to sacrifices, that you have to do this, you have to go through these trials and tribulations in order for you to be successful. It's very different, it's very uplifting, and it encouraged me. And I also listened to Joyce Meyer, to Michael Todd, and then who else? Stephen Furnick, and a lot of different preacher online. And it did help me. It did help me every day, as the more that I was listening. And there's also another one. What was his name? I forgot his name, but he was also a pastor. He's based in Florida. The church name is the Rood Church. He's an African American, if I'm not mistaken, based in Florida, in Tampa. And there's a lot more. There's a lot more that I was watching online, but I was very consistent listening to Joel Austin. And then there's also another one, Mike Todd and Joel Austin. So the thing with Mike Todd, he's very straightforward, and his topic is very interesting. The way that he preaches, very catching, very, you will gravitate towards it, just because sometimes he would incorporate it to signs, sometimes he would incorporate it to, there's a lot of different series that he was talking about. So anyway, and so there you go. I know I already talked about my dreams before, so I'm not going to talk about it again. But anyway, so there's a lot of different dreams that I dreamed in the past, and then there's also dates that um, and then what else? So there you go. I'm going to look for a page where randomly, let's see. Okay, I don't know. Okay, this one is year 2022. This is around March of 2022. during during this time during this time of my life, I already moved to Minnesota. I was living at my godmother's house where I was staying with her and her husband. I was renting a space there, and she was kind enough to, accommodate me for 6 months, right? December, January, February, March, April, May, June, 7 months. She was kind enough to accommodate me for 7 months, and you know, and that is something that I'm also grateful for, because my godmother, she showed me the mother authority. She taught me a lot of different things that um, she taught me a lot of different she taught me a lot of things that, how am I going to put it this way? She taught me a lot of household chores because she thought that I don't know how to navigate through life in the US. But anyway, um, nevertheless, I am grateful. I am grateful for her influence in my life. Because even before I went to the US, she's been a giver. She likes to give. She likes giving me gifts. In fact, one of the gifts that she's given me is this wallet. She gave me this wallet. This is even before I went to the US. This one is Kenneth Cole, and this one is yellow. It's one of my lucky wallets. So this, I am grateful for her. And then she also, when I was living with them, whenever they would go out, and sometimes if I don't like going out with them, and she would leave me a note, and one of the notes is this, and I think it's very sweet. I still have it, and I leave it on my journal. She said, "Shirley, your dinner, you can fry your egg roll." So sometimes I would come home and there's already a dinner ready, and all I have to do is to fry it. So that's how sweet she was to me. So she would leave a note, and she's a good cook. So my godmother, she's what's the right word I'm looking for? We're not super friends, because she's my mom's best friend. It's more of like she has a mother authority over me. She likes to show me that what are the things that you have to, what are the things that you have to learn, assimilating to the new stage. She taught me how to clean. She taught me how to clean the house. I mean, I'm not cleaning her house, but she taught me how to, she taught me how to wash clothes, which I know how to do it anyway. But I think she's just being nice on how to show me the life in Minnesota, in the new state. I just felt like it was a little bit too much and overbearing, but I think she did what she need to do in order for me to assimilate. Anyway, so with my godmother, she was working at the bank at Huntington National Bank as well, and at the same time she had part-time jobs, and she likes helping other Filipinos and Filipinas organize their places, and she's kind enough to bring me there and show me what she was doing. She's very I felt like she wants to make sure that, or I don't know, at the time I felt like she was my guardian. I felt like at the time she felt like she was my custodian. And one of the things that she wants me to remember is to always include Nathan to my dreams. That my godmother always reminds me. She always reminded me to always include your son. Always include your son to your dreams. No matter what you do, wherever you go, always include your son to your dream. Do not forget your son. Always include him to your dream. Whatever dreams that you have, always include your son. At that time, I should have been in the Philippines probably, because I just, when my marriage was failing, I felt like I want to go back to the Philippines. But my godmother from another state told me that, just don't lose hope. There's a lot of cases like that where marriage doesn't work. You're already here. Save up for your son, for his future. So, and that's what I did. I moved to Minnesota, got a job, and then try to make myself a better person than I was before, and always remember that I am not single. I am a single mom. That every step that I'm making, every move that I'm taking, he's always part of it. That every move that I'm doing, I am making sure that I am leaving a great legacy for him. That my son, when he grows up, when he came to that point, he would recognize that all my sacrifices, the long distance, the years that I had to work being away, is for him. That I want to invest in his education, that he can go to a decent school, that he is provided with with everything that he need, and not just the basic need, but things that I can show him that just because I am a single mom doesn't mean that I cannot afford sending you to school, or those are the things. I mean, it's an exaggeration because I have my family who's also helping me take care of my son. But I already programmed that in my mind, that whatever I'm doing, that Nathan's gonna be here with me. He's gonna be there with me in the US. I'm going to take it one step at a time. Be there He's going to be there soon enough. I have to do the immigration and everything, and which I started anyway. It's just a matter of time that I had to wait. So anyway, going back to my Christian faith, so that's when I started learning about God, about the gospel. At that time, I was also waiting for the official divorce, because we haven't really had that the resolution. We haven't have that divorce decree yet. We were still sending paperwork and doing this and doing that. So we were sending paperwork back and forth. And then we also have another Filipina that is helping us with sending the documents back and forth. So I was like, okay, hopefully it shouldn't take long for us to to get it finalized. So but anyway, so how was my relationship with my godmother at the time? Well, my godmother is, again, she's nice. She's a good person. There's no question about it. She knew that I was listening to gospel. There would be times that I don't feel like going out. I just want to stay inside the house and write or listen to podcasts, listen to music. Most of the time, I was on my earbud, or I was playing with the cat. We had a 16-year-old cat. His name is Juno. My godmother doesn't like Juno very much, but she's taking care of him anyway. I do love Juno. The cat is a cute cat. He's already 16-year-old, and most of the time he is with me inside the bedroom. I would borrow him from my godmother's husband, Greg. And the cat would stay inside the bedroom with me, and I would play with the cat and talk to the cat like I was losing my mind. But anyway, I love cats. And there would be times that sometimes I was just so heartbroken with the things that happen in my life, that why do I have to go through divorce? Why do I have to meet why do I have to meet person at the wrong time? Why do I have to love and get broken? Why do I have this? So many questions I had in mind. So many things that I like to ask God. Why do you have to make me suffer this? Why would you have to make me experience and feel all these things when my intentions are always pure. My intentions are always good. I don't have any intention to double cross other people. I don't have any intention to fool, to to trick other people. All my intentions are always good and always has a good intention. It always pure, it is, if it is not for me, it's for my family. And I was like, maybe there is a purpose why I have to go through this. Maybe this is not an accident that I have to go through this. So this is going to be a guiding light, a survival kit for those who are going through a lot of different things: depression, marriage, divorce, what else? Going through tough times, anxiety, whatever it is. Then maybe this is, maybe my life is a living testimony of God's faithfulness. Maybe this is the purpose that I have to go through this. So anyway, since then, since I started dreaming a lot of different things changed. Things have started changing in my life. The more that I was listening to the gospel, the more that I was watching different different services online, the more that I was learning and becoming more positive, the more that I am understanding myself better, and how important it is to have boundary, not letting other people have access to you, and take care and guard your heart, because everything flows from it. And then filled my mind with so many godly things, and do not let any evil thoughts enter my mind, because that is the devil's favorite playground. Your mind, your idle mind, is the devil's favorite playground. So from being so negative when I was in Florida, I started thinking so many positive. I started dreaming. I had so many dreams that will happen to my life in the future, and dreams that was happening to me even I was sleeping. So there's a lot of different dreams. So if I am going to talk about the journey, it's really going to be dream journal, because that's when I started dreaming and imagining so many great things about life. So many beautiful things about my destiny, a beautiful life in the future. And I started asking God of signs, of different signs. I was asking God, in a very, short period of time of listening to Joel Austin, I understand the power of having a positive mindset. That I understand the importance of being direct, being straightforward with your prayer request. That do not sugarcoat God. If you want to ask Him, tell Him directly. Tell Him that, God, I pray that, today you will give me wisdom, that today you will give me a divine connection that will enable me to meet this person that will take me to the next level. That kind of prayer that's very direct and straightforward. So that's that. And what are the signs that I prayed for? I prayed for a different sign. I prayed for very silly but true. I prayed for a sign. I was praying for a butterfly. I prayed for yellow bell. And then I prayed for a straw hat. What else? And I prayed for dove. So those are the different signs that I prayed for. That is the sign that is connected to my destiny, man. I was praying for the right man. I prayed for the right love. I prayed for God to show me that if I see these things randomly, that means that it's a yes for you. It's a yes from you, that you're saying, okay, yes. This is the sign that He is your destiny man. So So everywhere I go, I keep looking for it intentionally. You know, it wasn't just randomly. Maybe I'm just forcing myself. But anyway, so that's how it started. The first thing that I've asked for, I think it was a butterfly, which I saw at Home Depot. I think there's a woman who had a tattoo with a butterfly. Or I went to the $5 below. It's a store where everything is like $5 or something. And I bought like this keychain with a blue butterfly in it. And then, so those are the signs that God has given me, that means He was saying yes to this person that I thought my destiny man. I thought he was my destiny man, because I thought at the time he was he was an instrument, that God used him as an instrument for me to leave a toxic marriage, to leave to live um, an unhealthy environment. And I felt like he was the reason why I he was the reason why I found, and then I started learning about God again, and I started being a Christian again. So I thought that he was the reason why, I thought that he was an instrument, and he was the bridge of making me understand that there's really a God. So anyway, enough of that. So that's that. And then I was waiting for the yellow bell. The yellow bell is like a golden trumpet. It's like a golden trumpet flower. I didn't see it at the time because it was winter. It was winter season. Even I went to Home Depot garden, I didn't see it. But I saw it on my news feed. I saw it in my news feed instead, that there's a lady. I think she was an influencer. She had a yellow bell. She's doing a laundry, and she had a yellow bell on her, on her hair. And I was like, okay, I'll consider it as a sign. So it was a yes, even though I didn't really see the yellow bell. Even though I didn't see the yellow bell at the store or in person. It was online. It was on my Facebook. I was like, okay, maybe it's a digital sign that is a yes. So okay, I got another yes and got another sign. Or maybe my mind was looking for it and conditioning it. That's why the algorithm is also associating and incorporating with what I was thinking at that time. And then a straw hat. I think I saw a lady wearing a straw hat. I don't remember exactly when on and who is the lady where I saw a straw hat. But anyway, saw it. And then the last thing that I was asking for is the dove. It was a sign, which I am going to tell you a story on my next vlog. I was looking for a sign, and that was a dove. As dove is the sign of peace, and it's also a sign of unity, and that means marriage. So that was that. And again, how was my relationship with my godmother? Well, we don't really talk every day. I mean, we are working at the bank. We are always together, almost 24/7, because I was living at their place. So I mean, I don't think she's angry with me. I just felt like we just had this little boundary between us, because she's also aware of this guy that I was telling her about, the one that I told her about, that he was the reason why I was saved from a toxic marriage. That he was the reason why I want us to have a new beginning with in the new state. And anyway, that was that. So, and then as far as my relationship with her husband, we're okay. He's a good person. He likes to talk, and he likes cat. Obviously, he likes Juno. He's kind enough to welcome me and accommodate me, and showed me Minnesota. So that I am also very grateful. I mean, I never heard him say negative things to me, you know, in my front, in front of my face. He never said anything bad in front of my face. But sometimes when he would be on his phone, he was with his friend on the phone. I'm not eavesdropping or anything, but sometimes I would hear him. He was talking to his friends, and for the most part, he was awake on evenings, and then he was watching TV. But I mean, I don't I don't feel that uncomfortable, but there's this fine line that you don't want to cross, especially that it's there's just this unspoken decency that you don't want to break. At the end of the day, you're living with a husband and wife, and I am a woman, so I know how to I know the difference of how of being yeah, yung alam mo na yun, that unspoken, um, what is the right word? Unspoken fine line between being too friendly, being too accommodating, um, to being polite and respectful enough to know that there's a boundary that you don't want to cross. So I give them space. For the most part, I was staying inside the bedroom, and I don't really interact with them every day. I mean, after work, I would stay inside the bedroom, watch YouTube, be on my phone, and prepare for the next day, hoping that one day I get a place of my own, because I just feel very uncomfortable living with them. Not that they're treating me bad, but I was just so comfortable with having my own space and my privacy. And you know, and one of the things that I don't know, one of the things that I've noticed about my godmother, I don't know if she's feeling that. I don't know if she's feeling that awkwardness as well, which I don't blame her. I don't blame her that she's feeling awkward. I don't blame her at all that she's feeling awkward. That we're together. That she's married, and then I was there. I felt awkward too. I felt uncomfortable too. But anyway, I don't feel like, I don't want to be pabigat either. I thought I was helping them as well, because I mean, I wasn't living there for free. I was like, okay, I thought I was also helping them with the finances, or maybe that's what I thought. I don't know. That was just my opinion. But anyway, so that's that. And then we're going to talk more about how I get to the next level of faith, and how I learn about the new church, and growing and getting more accustomed to the life in Minnesota. So that's about it. Thank you. I just want to share my story. So there you have it.